He's been an ambassador for SIMNI, and Eddie has also been supporting us with shining a light on invisible illnesses. I've asked Eddie if he would like to share what that actually means to him and some of the personal experiences that he's been going through over the last year or two. Over to you, Eddie.
Invisible illnesses is something that we obviously can't see. It's not as if we're holding a cane or that we're able to see what's actually happening inside the person. I think it's really important that those of us that are neurodivergent or have an invisible illness continue to express that we have them. It's important that we talk about it. It's important that we lean on our supports. It's not an evil thing. It's something that we see as normal. Some people have filters. Some neurodivergent people don't have filters, and that's their normal. So we might be taken aback by the way in which they directly respond to questions or ask questions that lack, in the view of the other person, any social acceptance. But what we need to look at is the reason behind that, because for them, they're simply asking the question that is in their mind. I think we look at someone else that's different and we fail to see that they're just like you and I. It's often hard for neurodivergent people to seek out help and seek that support. But what's really important is that they continue to obtain that support, and that we in the community generally support them, because they have so much to offer. They have a skill set that we don't have. They have a skill set that can change our perception of what it means in society to be normal, or what is the view of normal.
So Eddie, one of the most important things within a workplace is for people to recognise that sometimes that can be an incredibly toxic environment where people are subjected to being bullied and harassed and end up with psychological injuries. These are incredibly invisible, and they can be very difficult to diagnose as well as be accepted within the workplace as a real problem. What kind of things do you suggest that would be helpful for people experiencing those kind of symptoms?
I think first of all it's important that you recognise those issues, whether it's workplace bullying, gaslighting, a psychologically unsafe work environment. And once you recognise the red flags, whether it's isolation, whether it's reversal of victim blaming, whether it's exclusion, or that you're being put in the too hard basket because you might have burnout, you might have burnt out, you might be suffering and know that there's a lack of support. Once you recognise those issues, it's really important that you act on them as soon as possible, because having those support networks outside of the workplace, ensuring that those around you that actually care for you are prevalent, you can then focus on your self-recovery, because those people generally don't have any time to support you. They don't have a need or want to support you, and they will do everything in their power to make you look like you're the problem or you're the issue. And it's really important that you don't succumb to that. These sorts of tactics are widely used. They are unforgivable. They should not occur, but unfortunately in our society, it is a prevalent case of these issues. And what transpires from them is mental ill health, PTSD, acute stress and anxiety, and various other mental disorders that occur. The most important thing that anyone should recognise once they've worked that out is to reach out and gather your support networks and keep them close, because if you fail to do so, you can end up in situations where you don't feel that life is meaningful, you don't feel that you're worth anything, and at the worst cases, and there are several of them, you lose the very essence of your life.
So Eddie, family means everything to you, and I know from personal experience that you will not compromise, the things that matter to you in making sure that as a dad and a husband, you're there for them. So over this past couple of years, what have you been able to do to ensure that you're looking after your own mental health and well-being?
Well, one of those biggest things is that family connection. Whether it is taking the kids to the park, spending time going to a picnic. We at home do a thing called Family Challenge, and so that's a little book that we have, and we scratch out an activity. One of the kids' favourites so far is Russian roulette egg, where you boil 12 eggs and you leave 12 eggs raw, and then you mix them up in a bucket and you pick one out, and if it's raw, it goes on to the next person, but if it's hard-boiled, then you get a point. So the kids particularly like things like that. And I think that for me, and keeping on top of my mental health, I could not have done it without the love and support of my wife and my children. Because when you suffer such traumatic experiences, I think that you really need to hone in onto the things that matter. In a workplace, you're just a number. You can be replaced within 6 months. The expectation is that you forego everything and you become complicit and compliant to what they direct, and that comes at a loss to your actual values. And for me, I would never give up what truly matters to me. And for me, I attributed and always have attributed all of my success and all of everything that I do in life is attributed to my wife and children. Without them, I don't think I would still be here. It's been a trialing 12 to 24 months, and I'm here today because those individuals, those little souls, and my wife have kept me above board. I think the biggest shift for me was when my youngest said to me after my wife, during a traumatic episode, pulled me out of the shower, and my 3-year-old said to me, "Daddy, you're strong and brave. I love you. Please don't be sad. Please don't let that person hurt you." And that to me was the biggest factor of exactly what I needed to know that the support that I need is right in front of me. To have the unwavering and just those hugs from my 2 girls and my wife, and the constant reassurance of you're better than this is not who you are. These are some of the things that resonate in my mind daily that I've been told not only from my children but my wife. And I am grateful and blessed to have that in my life, because without that, I wouldn't be here today making this video and helping someone else who just might need to hear that these individuals in a workplace are not your people. They're not your family. They don't care about you. They care about productivity and making them look good. What really matters is the support you have at home and those of your support networks.
So Eddie Fraser is a solicitor by profession. He's also one of our Sir Optimist International Moreton North ambassadors, and has been one of the men when he first had his very first child that was part of our conversations with dads about how to raise children. Now, Eddie's been a long time advocate for social justice and speaking up for human rights, and he continues to do that through a lot of his volunteering and community work. Eddie, would you like to shine a little light on some of the things that you do to help other people in that capacity?
Absolutely, Chris. So I do a lot of volunteering and I am very community focused. I volunteer at community legal centres at least once a month. I am a volunteer president of the Queensland Justices Association. And as Chris mentioned, I firmly support and advocate for the many projects that SIMNI are involved in within the community. Community aspect and volunteering is an integral part of my life, and it's something that will never stop. The way in which we should all engage in our community is that sometimes obtaining the support we need is not visible, but that doesn't mean there is no support out there. It's really important that we reach out to our community networks. Some advocacy services will support various aspects. We are all familiar with the very prevalent ones, and there are some that are doing their bit for the community in the background. Sir Optimus's example at the moment is shining a light on invisible illnesses, which is a very important piece of work. Sometimes when we do suffer with PTSD or acute anxiety or some of those mental health issues, there are a lot of grey areas in the support that we can achieve. So it's really important that we look out and support each other during these times, because we've learnt from COVID and from isolation that the best remedy is often that support. And so if you're looking for the support networks and can't find them, reach out to people that you might know, and reach out to organisations in the community that might not have the answer but can help direct you, because that's half the battle, is finding those support networks.
That's great, Eddie. And I think the wonderful thing about this project is let's just start the conversations over a cuppa in a safe space with the people. You know, I've had some amazing conversations with complete strangers, and it's just engaging with each other and being able to reach out and just let people know that someone actually cares.
Yeah. And that's really important, Chris, because ultimately those around us do care, and we are stronger in numbers, and our community is strengthened by showing each other the kindness and empathy that we all yearn for in life.
Beautiful. Thanks, Eddie, for sharing.
Thanks for
really
having me, Chris.
appreciate it.